Bassmaster from Mumbai. I just wanted to ask you that since you recycle 95% of the material, does it pay for the cost of demolition?
The savings from the recycling, you're saying? No, it didn't offset the demolition costs, but at least we're doing what we can in order to help the planet.
Rafael Oliveira with Thornton Tomasetti and represent CTBUH in São Paulo, Brazil. My question is to Dario. If you could talk a little bit about the cost comparison of the different systems, and you think that the current costs today versus the costs in the next 10 or 20 years are going to change very much or not?
You mean the economical cost? Well, that was originally was supposed to be part of the study. Finally, we decided to let it go because the problem is that some materials have a pretty constant cost, some others are commodities, and therefore they fluctuate significantly every other day. So basically, we didn't study the cost aspect. The difference between the two materials, in a way, is that at the end of the life of the building, when you demolish, maybe you're not able to offset the demolition cost, as Riccardo was saying. But of course, there are some materials that you can sell back to the industry and that are absolutely reused as material, and some other that go into a landfill, which the city charges for dumping materials into a landfill. So in some cases, I know that, correct me if I'm wrong, I know that there are demolition companies that in selected case buy the building to demolish it in order to sell the scrap.
Nicoletta, ArcelorMittal. I have a question for Andrea and one for Riccardo. Dario, don't be upset. I know you're studying by heart, so no question for you. For Andrea, you mentioned that you are planning to do a life cycle analysis for the retrofitting. Are you meaning to do an environmental one, cost one, and social one, or you are thinking only on? Yeah, what's the plan?
Okay, thank you for the question. Yeah, this is a really important aspect that we have been trying to integrate. It's not myself in my dissertation research, but it's my colleague, which is taking the broad perspective of how retrofit, facade retrofit impacts in this life, in the wide range of social, like sustainability issues, materiality, durability, resilience, etc. From my side, there is an approach more, a little bit about life cycle cost. In my specific research, so adding or trying to identify these extended benefits that a facade retrofit could bring besides energy. So when you compare energy with people, someone was showing yesterday, we have a big difference in cost. That people's cost in a building is largely more than energy. So when you start adding these other variables, so extended benefits from a facade retrofit that was done from a holistic approach, you get benefits for real estate because the value of the building is increasing. If it's rented, the rental price is increasing. So, and also, if you have a better facade, you are having daylight harvesting. You can have the choice for people to open windows. So all those are benefits that can improve productivity, reduce absenteeism, improve health, etc. So generally, all those benefits are not accounted for. So that is our direction in that regard. And regarding to real data, what we were looking at is to these cycles. We didn't have idea like how long did it take for buildings to have the facade retrofit. So we have like other data set that is showing different facade retrofit over time. So which type of retrofit is done before than others, and how long does it take for different types of buildings, but this is coming after this experience.
Now for Riccardo, I'm just curious because you mentioned that the platform you are installing on top of the building is supported on the columns of the building. What happens with the platform when you have to demolish the columns?
What we have is because we have a system of many jacks, right? So the platform is designed so that we can remove one jack, demolish that column all the way down to the floor below, then extend the jack to the floor below, and then it's supported again. Then we move to the adjacent column, we pull that column up, so we're able to, out of 3 columns next to each other, one is obsolete, let's say. So we're able to leapfrog that system until we have all, in this particular case, 12 jacks fully extended, and then we are able to start the demolition, demolish all the walls, so we get to the level of the jacks, and then we just lower the equipment, and we continue that cycle. Thank you. Thank you.
Hello. Question to Riccardo. ACOM Alexander. The question is more or less similar. I'm pretty sure that you need some kind of design development or due diligence to understand the current situation with the concrete of the column, just to add some additional load as a platform, as a cocoon and equipment before you will start demolition. So, and you said that it's only 20 days for installation. So currently it's more or less, let's say, additional time you need to start your demolition works.
No, I'm not sure I understood the question, sorry.
To start works, actual works for demolition, you need to make some kind of due diligence to understand the current status of concrete columns.
Absolutely. So for sure we need to analyze the condition of the existing building with the designers, with the client, and make sure that the existing building is also not impaired, right? Because we demolish buildings also that are damaged, correct? So yes, there's definitely some engineering work that has to happen up front. But people think that this particular equipment weighed around 400 tons, let's say. That's a huge load. But if you think about the live load that's on a building that is now vacant, so no more live load, we've really, it's never been a problem, right? And what we can do is, because we can design our system, and instead of having 12 support points, for example, we could have 15. So we can lessen each reaction on each column if need be. So yes, there's due diligence done up front to make sure that the existing building or damaged building can take on the loads. Yes.
One more question. Based on your previous 2 projects, how many time it takes for you for design and checking all the structures?
I would say, let's say a month and a half. Right?
Thank you.
Because we need to also retrofit the existing equipment. So we've done 3 demolitions so far, and of course, when we bring that same equipment from one building to the other, we also have to make modifications, minor modifications to the equipment. So while we're studying that, we're evaluating the conditions of the existing building with information supplied to us by the client.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Yeah, there is one question there also.
Riccardo, what are the capabilities of your system to, say, put a jib crane or something on the end of your or on the top, but close to the end, so that if you're removing precast or something from a cladding, like how much flexibility do you have? Do you have 5%? Do you have 50%?
Well, we need to analyze that, because we haven't, when we designed the system, we didn't look at it for those reasons, but we have thought about putting even robotics, right? And let's say demolition equipment that is directly installed on the frame, right? Also, again, to achieve even a high degree of safety. So that's going to be the next generation, right, going into things like that. So if we need to put a hoist or something on our structure in order to help us with the removal of facades, we just need to look at the design of this and maybe reinforce it or design a new equipment, right? But we think that for loads such as windows and maybe facades, we've got more than enough capacity today.
Here, a question on the corner.
Oh, thank you for the lovely presentation. I am an engineer from Japanese company. My question is also to Riccardo. I want to share the measurement about the dust because the demolition field is not demolition field is uncovered. I mean, the open demolition field is in open air. So I'm afraid there is some impact about the dust or noise. So can I share your measurement about such kind of pollution?
Correct, yes. And we have, of course, the client had sensors all around our project to ensure that we never exceeded the allowable limits. So for sure, dust is difficult to control. But because we have a frame that completely covers the building, and we've got foggers, so let's say water spray that can completely cover the the area of our building, any dust that comes up and tries to escape from the cocoon gets pushed out or put out by water spray, right? So we've got localized water jets that are spraying exactly where we are doing the demolition activities. But if there's other dust being formed when we're moving things around, then we can put on, let's say, we can make it rain. Let's say that. We can make it rain with mist, and so that's how we control the dust. In terms of noise, you're correct. There's nothing there that is that stops the noise. But being a cocoon and not working with jackhammers, right? Again, we've got no noise, right? We've only got the noise of the engine because we use all of these bigger hydraulic clamps, and so we're able to have great production in demolition without making noise.